So now we are moving on. We're going to move on to our favorite segment of the podcast, and that is the card of the week. Now, Silverfuse has been so kind and so generous to give us this week's card of the week. And if you've been paying any attention whatsoever, you can probably guess what game this card is from. So Silverfuse, take it away.
It is the Doomcrag Vampire! I love this card so much. I've talked about Nixlox Telvanni, but I must now tell you about another one of my favorite archetypes, even though I've talked about two already, but this is definitely in the top 3. It is a control warrior deck, and how it works is because you have this vampire. He gives lethal, or if you're magic, death touch, to all the other units in the lane. So what you do is you play these little chargers, or guys that can attack into a unit right away. You can technically attack phase 2, but lethal, and it doesn't really do much. But the idea is you're playing this Doomcrag Vampire, and then you also have this other card that when your allies die, she draws you additional cards. So you play her as well, and then you just start slamming these little guys into your opponent's cards, and they're all dying, and you're also drawing cards from Namira. Thanks, Namira, for drawing me additional cards so I can just continue doing this. Some of the chargers are also 0-cost 1/1s. So you cycle through your deck this way, and at some point, oh no, you're out of cards. What do? You play Journey to Sovngarde, and what does that do? It puts them all back in your deck with +5/+5. And then you start drawing through your deck again, and you start charging at their face with 6/6s and stuff. It's great. It's so much fun. And it's all enabled by Doomcrag Vampire, because Doomcrag Vampire, without him, you cannot actually control the board with these units. And that's why I love him so much, is because he makes a whole archetype viable in such a unique way. In an archetype that generally was known for being an aggressive aggressive deck pretty much exclusively, it turned a somewhat aggressive deck into a control combo deck. So that's why I love him.
I love this card. And so there was a deck. So I will tell you, there are times where I do log into Elder Scrolls Legends and I play this deck because I just love it so much. But there was one deck that I put this card in. It was very similar to what you described, but there was one card that I used. It was, I can't remember the name of the card, but it was basically like you would get, when you play it, you would get a rat, like multiple rats
Skeever.
for every time you played the card
Skeevers.
or something. There we go. Skeevers. Yes. Yes. And so I had that card. I'm gonna have to find this deck but regardless, it was Doomcrag Vampire, and then with Skeevers, it was so much fun. I loved playing that. Loved playing that deck. This is definitely, and we talked about this a little bit offline, but this is definitely a deck that I think Jim would very much like. Very
Probably.
much. 100%. So that is Doomcrag Vampire from the game Elder Scrolls Legends. And this is actually not the first Elder Scrolls Legends card we've had on Card of the Week. We had Charmer. We had Charmer on the podcast. And can you guess which card Charmer picked?
Probably something really dumb.
Time to fight.
Oh, yes, he
the
did!
Nord
Oh, yes! Of course he picked that one. His emotes used to be based off of it, and a bunch of other things off of it. And that is the Raider to 0/1/1 charge that Doomcrag Vampire enables.
Yep.
And also how you OTK
So
your opponent at the end.
Yep. Yeah, so this is the second Elder Scrolls Legends card that we have featured on Card of the Week, and I am all here for
And they're
it.
from the same deck, apparently.
Yeah, well,
There-
he used
yeah.
it as an aggressive card, the bash face, for sure. That's definitely the reason he, as he says, math is for blockers or for defenders. Yes.
Yep.
So he was definitely, and I also played a lot of Crusader, and there's a lot of cards that, a lot of aggressive decks that play that card because, I mean, it's a 0-mana 1/1 with charge. Like, why wouldn't you play that?
Yep. All right, so that is this week's Card of the Week. Thank you so much, Silverfuse, for showcasing that card for us.